Hey guys, welcome to a very last minute stream. I wasn't able to make it look so good in time, but I'm super excited because we're going to be doing this stream around this time every Tuesday. And it's with one of my absolute favorite people from Twitter and just live. So Matisse, thanks for joining, or should I say Chelsea's defense attorney.
Big up your damn selves. Yeah, Chelsea's defense attorney in the building. I didn't really feel like I need to put my I'm more importantly trying to defend the club at this point because we got no players fit. We lost on the weekend, so I got a lot of defense in me. So yeah, 100%. Good to be here.
It's so funny. So guys, we still need to think of a name for this show. I just titled it like a preview because I had no name, no ideas. So if you guys have any ideas, Matisse, you're much better at these things than I am. Still thinking about it, still cooking along. But I do want to talk about Chelsea. I mean, the big news today, and I think we spoke about it on your channel a little bit yesterday, but it seems like even more concrete. Rudiger seems to be basically out at this point and looks like he's going to Real Madrid.
Yeah. I'm afraid it's a wrap, people. Do you know what I mean? I'm afraid it is a wrap. I was really hoping that we would get to a point here where we could say Rudiger's going to sign and he's going to stay and he's, we're going to work through this. But I'm afraid the relationship's over and, everybody's going to have to divide their assets. The kid will stay with Rudiger on the weekends and we'll keep him for the week. It is what it is. There is no going back from here. He's definitely going, I think. I've already made peace with it. And people are like, oh, Matisse. I'm like, no, actually start to come to terms with this because it is probably going to be the case. And it's just a simple situation where I think he's achieved everything he wanted to maybe achieve at the club. Yeah, he doesn't have a Premier League title under his belt, but he's been here a while since he joined from Roma. It's been ups and downs, and he has the opportunity now for a fresh start at Real Madrid or wherever he goes, Bayern Munich, on way more money. In a team equally as competitive and successful. Bayern win every year. Real Madrid are looking really dangerous in the next couple of years with Vinicius doing really well. Benzema, Pogba probably going to join on a free. Mbappe. So why would you not just go and do another club, especially now in your prime? It's your last big contract. It makes perfect sense from his point of view. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm really not so surprised at this point, especially I had hope. I really had hope, but at the point that it's December, he's free to talk to other clubs in January. I totally get it. And like you said, it's probably so much more money, a new challenge, try to win a Champions League with another club, try to win a club title. Matisse, you have so many fans in here. This man
it's just because I've been everywhere today. Big up your damn selves. I released my own preview. I was on Big Six. I was on Miz's channel as well this morning. So
oh my God,
I'm on tour, as they say.
Thanks for stopping by my city. Pranav says he's been great for us, but I do feel like he's been replaceable, which is a great point. So I feel like currently in the squads, there really is not anybody who's realistically playing in Rudiger's position week in, week out at that level. We do have Malang Sarr, who we've seen come in. He's looked good in some games, looked premature in others, which is just normal. He's youth. But who do you see anybody that you think that the club has their eye on or is looking to maybe get in? Like Kante, I think was a name that was thrown around. Chalobah as well, maybe could play on that side.
I think the favorite for me is probably Jules Koundé. He was the one that was targeted over the summer. He's the one that was begging on his hands and knees to come to Chelsea, and unfortunately it didn't happen for him. He can play on that right side in a back three, and I think Trev, like you said there, will move across to the left. He played on the left for Lorient in France. I think a lot of people forget that. He did play on the left of a back three quite often. And for me personally, I'm more than happy to see him on the left side. I think he's really good at coming out with the ball in terms of coming out and taking advantage of the space ahead of him. I think on the left-hand side, after a few games, he'll equally adapt and be just as aggressive over there. Him and Rudiger have been really good at bringing the ball out since we switched to this formation, and obviously Rudiger's gone in his mazy runs, and Trev scored a few goals as well, one long ranger in the home game earlier in the season. So I just feel like these guys, they take advantage of the space ahead of them. I think Koundé will do similar. He's a really good dribbler of the ball. He's quite short for a centre back, but he still leaps really high. So I think after seeing Azpilicueta play back three as well, I'm not really too concerned about him in the back three in the Premier League because of his leap. And I think it will be the transition where you have Silva, who's French speaking as well, Mendy, you've got Koundé, you've got Trev, who obviously played in France, Christensen in there as well. So I think it will be most likely Koundé in for Rudiger. I've seen links to De Ligt. I think De Ligt personally is a lot to take on with his wages and his agent as well. I think Chelsea, whilst they'll probably rate the player really highly, because obviously who wouldn't rate De Ligt at this age really highly, it's still a lot to take on in terms of just financially. Even if Juventus finish outside the top four, it's just the wage package is going to be huge, the agent fees, everything. So I personally just think Koundé is an easier deal to get done, even though his release clause is expensive. And then we move from there. You've got, hopefully Silva stays, hopefully Christensen stays, hopefully maybe Colwell gets a promotion if Aspie leaves. I don't want Aspie to go, obviously. I'm not trying to make you cry again. But yeah,
we were on Matisse's channel yesterday, and he mentioned Aspie leaving, and I was just like trying not to well up because it's really sad.
You know what it was? You know when you see the tears? I'm telling you, I was trying not to be Oprah Winfrey. I was saying it to you. I was like, I'm not trying to do this interview thing where I try and get a tear for the camera. And I was like, as soon as I see Elizabeth getting emotional, I'm going to take over and start talking so she can just compose herself in front of goal. Because Elizabeth was moving erratic like Timo Werner. She was just out here just missing chances, moving mad. You needed to compose yourself.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, if I don't laugh, I'll cry.
Oh man, funny.
Almighty Blues FC says, is it just me that Koundé has mistakes in him compared to De Ligt? But I hear you about wages. I honestly have to watch La Liga more. I don't watch it, and so I don't know much about it. But Matisse, do you know anything about this?
I mean, Koundé was good last year for Sevilla. I think him and Reguilon as well, another player that played well for Sevilla, but then comes to Tottenham, has a few mistakes in him. I think for me personally, it's all about the fundamentals. I think all these centre-backs, De Ligt, there was a point at Juventus where he was making a few mistakes week in, week out, and people were like, was he overpriced? And now he's maybe coming back into good form. But he was also making mistakes when he moved to Juventus. These guys are both young centre-backs. We've learned with Christensen. I've learned with Christensen. These guys are not in their prime. They are going to be having some errors. But I think when you come under Tuchel into this system, we've seen if Malang Sarr can come and keep a clean sheet against Brentford, then these highly, highly talented centre-backs can definitely come into the system and do the business as well. They're all, both of them are extremely talented. They've both got a lot of plus points to hang on to, and Tuchel will be able to rough around the edges, put them in the system, and I think they'll be fine. So I think regardless of whether they've got both of them have had moments of mistakes, so I don't really see it as a massive issue. I think they've got too much talent to really be massively concerned there. It's all about just bringing someone in, for me personally, to replace Rudiger, keeping Christensen, keeping Silva, trying to keep Aspie, because we don't want to lose too much experience. There are some intangibles that Rudiger gives us in terms of his shithouse freedom. We will not be able to replace with any of these guys. So yeah.
Yeah, so on the fields when he kind of fakes an injury, or he'll get in the opponent's face or whatever, those are things that you don't really see many other people doing. I will say I feel like Reece James could fill that role. I could see him doing that because he kind of has that inner, I don't know, you just see him and you're like, oh, I'm not gonna want to mess with Reece James. He's massive and he's just scary.
No, he is. I've said it before. He's the soul snatcher. This guy, when he looks at you, you just have to behave. You really do. I hear a lot of people on social say that Reece looks really shy, and maybe because he doesn't do press conferences or interviews, or he doesn't get picked for the PR stuff from the club in terms of I don't know, cooking with three or something with Alonso and Aspie. I don't know. Maybe he's not getting picked enough for PR. He's not that kind of guy. But I don't see him as shy. I see him as a guy that he's a silent assassin. He doesn't speak until he needs to speak. And if he has to talk, you're in big trouble. you know what I'm saying? This guy, how could he be shy when he's so violent on the pitch? This brother's out here dealing with players. Bamford last year getting held up at Stamford Bridge. That's not a shy individual. That's not someone who's, you know, within themselves and isn't very comfortable in their own skin or whatever. This is a brother who knows what it is. Look at that celebration. Look at that celebration a couple of weeks ago against like, come on now. This guy he's crazy. He's very competitive. And I think, you know, I think it's not always that you need someone to shout or be barking. I think sometimes you just need a cool, calm head who just says it how it is, but you take them seriously because, listen, they're Reece James, and that's how I see it. So
1000%. You always make me laugh so much with like your analogies.
I try.
So I do want to start looking forward to the game tomorrow. We spoke about it a bit on your channel. I have to say, I think I've changed my mind about how we're going to approach it after hearing Tuchel's presser, where he basically said, I don't really mind about this game tomorrow. I'm more worried about all of the injuries that we have against Leeds at the weekend and how we're not going to have essentially any time to prepare or rest for that game because we're traveling from Russia. Kovacic was coming back. He's now tested positive for COVID, unfortunately. Jorginho is out. Kante is out. Ben Chilwell is out for a while, if not till the end of the season. Is anybody else out that I'm missing?
I think that's it. Well, Trevor's out as well. Trevor's out. Yeah, Trevor's out.
As well.
He's hopefully back next week. Kai is back in training, but he's in contention, but in my opinion, it would be a bit of a risk to play him. And then obviously we need him against Leeds. Lukaku's just still getting up to speed. So yeah, we're screwed basically. Long story short. There's a lot of issues
tomorrow. Like, who's available?
Well, we seem to just be everybody just seems to be dropping down like flies. There's no midfielders left. They've all left the group chat. And said good luck, fair. My best wishes. You know what I'm saying? We'll see you later. Good luck out there, kids. For me, I just look at the midfield and I think to myself, this game is a complete write-off in terms of I don't really care. I just want to see everybody come out fit for Leeds. Leeds is more important. We've already qualified. Yes, we want to top the group. We want to avoid Bayern Munich, but at the end of the day, you have to pick and choose your priorities, and we can't afford for more people to get injured. Otherwise, we'll be out of the title race before we even get to the January window if we're not careful. We have Wolves away. That's not going to be easy. Brighton are a good team. We should beat them, of course, as well. We should win all our games up until Liverpool, January the 2nd. But even still, the game's not played on paper. It's played on the pitch. So for me personally, I've gone with a Barkley and Loftus-Cheek pivot with Saul at left wing back. It's a mess. There's no balance. There's no logic in terms of playing style. There's nothing. It's just vibes. And, Zenit don't really press. They didn't really press us at Stamford Bridge. So I feel like people are going to get time on the ball. I feel like Zenit are going to park the bus, which, they probably will. I don't see why they wouldn't. And therefore, we shouldn't really have turnovers in midfield. And we should be able to control the game as we did at Stamford Bridge. It's just going to be about unlocking the door. And when you look at Zenit, this is a free hit for them. They've already qualified. Well, they haven't mathematically, but they're 3 points clear of Malmo. Malmo are probably not going to beat Juve. So they're basically in Europa League football for the new year. So this game really shouldn't mean much to Zenit either. So as long as we just, for me, get a 1-0 win, rest everybody, play the fringe players, bring some academy players off the bench, even if we have to, Webster's, Vales, whatever you want, spoon, knife and fork, as I said to you on Twitch, all these guys, they can all get a run out. Everybody can get a run out. I'm not trying to see Rudiger. I'm not trying to see Silva. I'm not trying to see James. I'm not trying to see all these key guys, Mendy. Like, no, just no need for it. Just rest completely.
I really thought, like when I was on your channel yesterday, I really thought we had more players available than and it's just like getting so dire. So we have a question from Easy Takers. Hi Elizabeth, do you think Barkley, Sar, Aspie, RLC, Saul and Kepa should start? And the basic answer is yes. We think that we're going to see all of the second string, quote unquote, players starting in this game. there really aren't so many players available. We are getting a few questions about like that left wing back role, because I know that Saul played in that role against that for Atletico. He moved to Chelsea because he was wanting to play in his preferred midfield position. So obviously it's not ideal for him. He hasn't had the best of performances. Tuchel did back him in his press conference, saying, well, it was tough opponents and they press a lot and he has to get used to the pace and physicality that you encounter in the Premier League. Maybe against Zenit, where we're going to have more of the ball, he would do a bit better. But do you think that we could even see like a Callum or Pulisic at left wing back as a makeshift left wing back instead of Saul?
I personally had Callum in my front three, and I had Pulisic at right wing back, and those two interchanging depending on if they're getting any joy out of their fullbacks. Callum can play right wing back, Pulisic can play left wing, so that rules them out for me personally in this game. And I think going forward, it's a waste of time because that's not their position. You're not going to get the best out of either of those two players at left wing back. They're not going to be able to play the rest of the season with us competing for trophies at left wing back either. So Saul until January, or Alonso until January, if Saul plays well, which is obviously no given these days. And then in January, you have to go and buy. You have to go and spend on a left wing back. There's no guarantee Chilwell will even be the same player when he returns or when he will return. So you have to go and buy someone who's capable of starting and competing for the Premier League and the Champions League at left wing back, and Chelsea just have to spend money. We literally were in the green in the summer. There's no excuse not to dash 35 million on a proper left wing back to literally put this squad back in contention for the honours. I think, for me, when you look at Hudson-Odoi, he's had a run of games before Man United in his favourite position, creating opportunities, improving. Yes, his finishing is not good enough, but again, he's a young player. Vinicius' finishing was awful last season. Stuck with him, keep working on it, and you might get something out of it. So it's better to just keep these guys now in their best positions and not keep moving them around and trying to put them in positions that they don't play. And also defensively, I think a lot of people forget, a left wing back, you have to defend. You're coming up against some of the best wingers in the league. Rafinha against Leeds coming up. Do I really want to see Rafinha going 1v1 with Hudson-Odoi? Not really. Or Pulisic? Definitely not. Obviously, Rudiger can cover, but it's just not ideal. You're just all we're doing is leaving Rudiger hanging him out to dry. And we saw against Bowen, West Ham's second goal. Again, Rudiger can have mistakes if we don't, pattern our stuff and make sure that we're secure. Dennis, I think the menace I called him for Watford, he literally was dancing with Rudiger in the box again, exposed. So when you start exposing people, things can happen in this system very quickly, and Rudiger can very quickly go from world class to someone who's now making mistakes, or he's looking hesitant, or he's not composed on the ball. Rudiger against Watford was giving it away, but mainly because the midfielders weren't in the correct position to receive it. It was moving like clockwork, our build up. With the other midfielders, but Saul wasn't taking up the positions to receive the ball. So Rudiger was giving it away. Again, it makes Rudiger look worse. Loftus-Cheek gives the ball away. Dennis is 1v1 with Rudiger. It makes Rudiger look worse. Alonso's at left wing back against Bowen. He skips past him. Rudiger's got to come out. Makes Rudiger look worse. Like, it's 3 examples in a very short space of time of Rudiger, his performance dropping off because the people that he's surrounded with are trash. If I'm just to keep it a buck, just to keep it honest. They're just not good enough.
Do you think that that's even maybe why the club is like hesitant to like give him this contract? Because like, if I'm looking at it realistically, I didn't think he was so good in a back four. I wasn't so keen on any of the players. I was like, you can make any pairing you want. I honestly don't know who's the best center back pairing at this point. And now, I think that Tuchel has curated a system that plays to the strengths of all of his individual players that he has and really hides their weaknesses. But now we're seeing with a lot of the first team players out, without Kante, without Kovacic, without Ben Chilwell, these major positions that you have these people that you truly count on, we're starting to see those little like blips come up again and weaknesses arise because he doesn't have the players that he built the system for, essentially.
Yeah. And like we spoke about for so much of this season, the wing backs being such a massive. I mean, we've already spoken about their Rudiger and how he's compromised. Now we take it to Reece James, who now will probably get doubled up on the right hand side because the left wing back side is not as threatening as it was with Chilwell. So the build-up play for Chelsea is imbalanced because everybody's going down the right, because we know technically on that side of the pitch we're stronger. And from an attacking perspective as well, you know, everybody's going to be focusing on Reece James over there. So when we look to switch to play, maybe the overloads aren't as strong, because again, the left-hand side is just not as fluid, is not as much chemistry, and it's not as much threat in general play, especially. So, you know, this left wing back spot is it's not a position to be playing with. It's literally half of the system on that whole left hand side. It affects the left winger, it affects the left side centre back, and it affects how effective we are on the right in terms of just people doubling up. So we need to make sure that we remember how important these wing backs have been, and therefore, if Chilwell, and to be honest, I'm just going to make the assumption Chilwell won't be the same player immediately after anyway, because it is a big injury. He's probably going to take a lot of time to get back to his level. That basically rules out the season. You have to spend. So if we don't, we'll pay the price, in my opinion, and probably won't do what we should do this season, or what we try to do this season, trying to win certain trophies.
It's so unfortunate, the timing of the Chilwell injury as well, because it came at the worst time. He was having a fantastic start to the season, and he's just become so incredibly important for this Tuchel side, for Chelsea, for the way that we play, the system that we implement. And now we really are, I don't know, we're struggling in that position, like you said, for a variety of reasons. So I kind of want to go through who you think is going to be starting tomorrow. In goal, Kepa. I don't think that we're going to see Mendy playing. Also, Mendy is going to be going, well, maybe he doesn't go to AFCON. I don't know, because of the COVID situation, TBD on that. But let's pretend that he is going. Then we're going to want to give Kepa some game time here or there, so that he's not absolutely cold when he does go. What's your back line look like? I'm so curious.
Malang Sarr, Christensen, Azpilicueta in this game. I think the only weak point is Malang Sarr, because he hasn't had many minutes, but the other two are top notch. So.
And then you said right wing back of
Pulisic to start with, because I want to see Hudson-Odoi and Lukaku link up, but maybe give them a half each, so nobody's really having to forfeit their whole game at right wing back. Maybe the first half, Pulisic at right wing back, second half, Hudson-Odoi at right wing back, might be the fair way of doing it. Left wing back, Saul, then the pivot of Loftus-Cheek and Barkley. That would be like my base for the team.
You don't really have any other options.
No, not really. Not really. And someone's saying no Sarr, but this is literally the exact type of game you have Sarr in the squad for. You have to play him in this game, because if we don't allow Rudiger to have a rest, especially when his mind is elsewhere a little bit with this contract situation, we're seeing reports linking him with Bayern Munich, with Real Madrid, that's already going to distract him. If we don't let his mind rest and not play him every single 3 days, he is going to have mistakes in his game, especially when he's surrounded by weaker players. So we need to give Rudiger that time to just recuperate from the game against West Ham, where for me, him and Alonso were definitely partly at fault for the Bowen goal. Just not being aggressive enough, closing the space down.
It could have just been like kicked out of play, like so easy.
Yeah, it was just a mess over there, honestly. And I'd rather not even go back on it.
We're past that game.
She try to think positive things, but So for me, I would just let him rest and give Sarr that game. Again, for me, it's not a meaningless game, of course, but in the grand scheme of things, with the amount of problems we have, it kind of is becoming very meaningless. So yeah, that's the base of the team for me.
I just honestly feel if we finish second in the group, we are going to get Bayern Munich.
What will be.
I just feel it, and that's the one team that I really just don't want to face. At least in the round of 16. Give us at least one more round through. Any other team, I really think that we could beat, but I think that they're one of the top contenders. They've been one of the top contenders for the past few years.
Let's hope. Let's hope Inter Milan top their group as well. I mean, Ajax are in this conversation. I think Lille as well. I'm not sure who's topping. There's a group where everybody's kind of even, and the points. Basically, the team at the bottom can still qualify for the knockouts, and the team at the top can still finish bottom. It's very like Sporting Lisbon, Lille, and a couple of others. It's a really messy group. I'll take anybody from that group, and I'll take Ajax, even though they've won 5 from 5. But again, I'll take my chances with them, and that's with Ten Hag doing really well for them, obviously. Inter Milan probably would hope they top the group over Real Madrid, and then obviously Bayern is awful. But yeah, I think that's just how it goes. We have a 1 in 4 chance of playing Bayern, and we have to wait for Inter Milan, Real Madrid, who tops the group. But for me, that's the risk you take. You have to take that risk.
Yeah, it is a risk. I mean, I think like we're really going for the Premier League, especially with the results that we've currently have. They just haven't been good enough. We have been dropping points against Leeds. You have to win, especially given their form in the league this season. Like they have been conceding a lot of goals. They haven't been the same pressing side either.
Yeah.
Just looking at the UCL table quickly. So City are definitely topping their group. Liverpool are topping, so we can't get either of them since they're in the same league. So we could play Ajax, and then, like you said, Real Madrid or Inter. Inter are on 10 points. Real Madrid are on 12. So, and goal difference. I think Real Madrid are, well,
It depends on their head-to-head, I think, as
and
well.
Real Madrid would have to draw.
Yeah.
And
who do Real Madrid play?
let me check. Real Madrid are playing against Inter.
Oh, there we go. Well, that's a very simple conclusion there. who's at home in that game?
Real Madrid.
Interesting. I mean,
I think Real Madrid are topping. That would be great for me,
probably.
because then I could cover Real Madrid for you guys, and I could do like so much content. And I do think we could beat Real Madrid. I really do think that we could beat them again. Group E, Bayern, yeah, and then Group F, Man United top, where we couldn't play them. And then, like you said, Group G, it could be either one really of Lille, Salzburg, Sevilla, probably not Wolfsburg. So
yeah, there's a lot going on there. But for me personally, it's like Leeds is the priority. It has to be, especially when we lost to West Ham. We drew with Burnley, we drew with United. That's 3 games out of the last 5. We've dropped points. We need to bounce back with a win over Leeds, especially when Wolves away is part of this fixture list as well over the Christmas period. Wolves away is going to be so difficult. Like, I don't think people are understanding how difficult Wolves are going to be. They're literally exactly what we don't want to come up against, with all of their strengths in terms of transition, pace out wide with Adama Traore, and defensively well set up. They've only scored, I think they had less goals scored than Newcastle this season, last time I checked. And so did Arsenal. Yeah, so that just tells you how good their defense has been. If they're where they are in the table with lack of goals, finishing has been a big problem for them this season, Wolves. So yeah, we just can't afford to drop points in the Premier League again. We're chasing City and Liverpool. That's already difficult enough to do. You cannot drop points. And yeah, a lot of people are traumatized about the Bayern game from Lampard era. But I'm not thinking about that. I'll worry about it when the draw's going on. It's too far in the future to think about, to be honest.
I'm not even like traumatized about that, because I went into that game knowing that we had no chance. Like I was like, maybe a miracle will happen. But realistically, you looked at our squad then, and you looked at their squad, and you knew that they were going to win that game. And now, like, I feel that, like, I don't want to play them, because I feel that Chelsea Bayern could be the final. I don't want to play like a final like game at the round of 16 level. And I think it could go either way. I would preferably like to have the likes of Chile back, and I don't know. I think, he goes, I'm talking about Wolves away last season.
Oh yeah, of course. That's also where I'm traumatized from, 100%. We had Wolves, we had Everton, we had Leeds. All 3 of those teams we had roughly around this time under Lampard. We beat Leeds.
How do you remember this?
Because I suffered greatly in that period, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Arsenal 3-0. That was absolutely diabolical.
That was shambles. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Everton, Wolves, and Arsenal 3 in a row, 3 losses before Christmas or around Christmas. And we have Everton and Wolves again coming up. And obviously Everton just beat Arsenal yesterday over Richarlison. Now he's decided he's going to start playing football. So yeah, it's brilliant. It's fantastic.
Did you see that he posted a picture of himself with the ball and he was like, my hat trick
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. He
It's
deserved
so
a hat trick. Like
he
honestly, it was
did.
a rough game for him.
He did. Yeah, I was honestly shocked, especially for my fantasy team because I had Ramsdale in goal. And I was like, oh, they're keeping the clean sheet. It's the 80th minute, they're keeping a clean sheet. And then I look and I'm like, no, they're not. They're not. Damn, like I cannot win this game. I cannot get fantasy. I just don't understand it.
I've given up. Honestly, I haven't picked my team in weeks. Yeah.
I saw your team. I was like, he definitely has not made any transfers recently.
Nah, like I go on there every 3 or 4 weeks and just spend like 12 points ripping up the whole team and going again, and then I just leave it. If it doesn't look good when I come back, then I'll do it again. It's just how I'm rolling right now. I've sacrificed. When you put yourself in the league with like 1,000 other people for your channel and you realize you're nowhere near even putting up a respectable position, you just don't care anymore. It's like, I'm clearly not in the race to win, so why am I bothering?
I'm nowhere close. I just see like red arrows every single week. It's so sad. But nobody has come back. Nobody. I do want to ask you for a score prediction tomorrow. I think you might have already said it, but for those who weren't watching or didn't hear when you said your score prediction, what do you think it's going to be?
I'm going 1-0. I think, it's not going to be pretty at all. But it's hopefully a job done and we win the game. And if we do a 1-0 with no injuries, that is literally the best case scenario I can see. It's cold as hell out there as well. I don't know if they got underfloor heating in that stadium or what they're doing, but yeah, it's going to be long. I think the roof has got. I think they have a roof though because it has been snowing. So I do think
they must have something because I couldn't
yeah.
imagine Russia in the winter, like absolutely not. And the fans that are going to that stadium, bless your hearts.
Hey, you do it for the loyalty points.
Well, who do you think scored tomorrow? Who's getting that goal?
Wouldn't it be ironic if it was Saul Niguez with the goal? I saw someone put that in the chat and I would love to see it. A nice Saul screamer. Just 1-0, literally just a 1-0, even a late winner from Saul, a screamer. Because he did hit the crossbar against Villa, I think, in the cup. He was taking a lot of shots from distance. He can shoot. Sadly, we haven't really get
score. I think that goal would have given a lot of confidence as well. Like it would have done him some good.
Yeah, so he's playing left wing back. He'll be able to get forward in my team if my team gets selected. So yeah, I'll go Saul. Why not?
Why not? I've already done everything but the kitchen sink in my team. Yeah, I don't predict it to be a high scoring game. Chelsea fans, I would urge you guys to not really not care about the game, but not use it for analysis because I don't think it's going to be pretty. So I don't think that this team is necessarily going to be representative of how we're going to see Chelsea playing moving forward. Oh, somebody said, yo, check what Fab just posted. What's the news? What did I miss, guys?
I think it is about Christensen and him not rejecting, but he's been offered another contract by Barcelona. AC Milan are also looking at this as well situation, but both clubs feel he'll extend his contract at Chelsea, which is basically just everything we've already been listening to in terms of Christensen. We all expect Christensen to sign, but there are clubs interested in Christensen, so we'll see.
All right, so not so surprising. I thought it would be something juicier.
Until he signs, I'm just not even on it. I just need to see that the here we go. That's it. I'm not really.
Yeah. I think he's going to sign. I think he will sign. My score prediction, guys, before we head out, my score prediction. I don't know. I feel like we could concede tomorrow. How many goals have they scored? Let me just take
Zenit.
Yeah.
Zenit are not really in the Champions League. I don't think they've been putting in the work outside of Malmo.
7 goals for and 7 against.
I think maybe 4 of those goals might have come against Malmo, though.
Yeah, that's true.
A good amount against Malmo. This is the last game, so they've played Malmo twice, of course. So they've definitely put work in on Malmo at some point. They didn't do it to us, and I don't think maybe they got a good result against Juve. I can't remember, but it was probably Malmo.
I'm gonna say I'm weary because I've been predicting clean sheets and we haven't been keeping clean sheets.
Yeah.
But if they score, I don't think we're gonna score 2, and I don't want to predict a draw. So I'm gonna go for a 1-0.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, so your front three was
Callum, Ziyech, and Lukaku is my front three.
Ziyech as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and Lukaku. I'm gonna say Lukaku gets a goal.
Yeah, I would love that. I'd actually prefer that over Saul. Surprisingly, maybe.
Quickly, I saw this in the comment section. I forgot to ask it, and now I'm remembering. What do you think about all the people who are doubting Lukaku and saying that it wasn't the right move for Chelsea to make this transfer?
I think they're underestimating everybody involved. I think they're underestimating Lukaku. I think they're underestimating Tuchel. And you know, if you didn't want him in the first place, fair enough. That's an opinion you held, and that's good that you were consistent. But if you've just switched on him after West Ham, I do have to question where that's come from, because he wasn't even fit. Tuchel said he wasn't fit to start. Tuchel said he should not have even brought him off the bench. I can't go against a guy who scores everywhere he goes and says, I'm back and I'm better. And I saw at Inter Milan, his all-round game did improve, and we're not really using him the way we should be. We're not getting the ball into him quickly enough. We are a little bit passive sometimes. And the best player for the progressive passes at the start of the season was Kova, who's now injured. Mason Mount also had good metrics in that regard. He's not been able to play with him consistently. Reece James and Chilwell, again, not being able to play with him consistently. So it's not really, the greatest situation for Lukaku to have Aspie and Alonso as wing backs, who are not the most dynamic. Kova's out, who he had the chemistry with. And Ziyech and Kai, when he was playing with them, they were kind of moving nonchalantly and just chilling in terms of their tempo. Now they've upped it. So I think people just need to give it a bit more time and realize that this is Thomas Tuchel as well. And he's literally one of the smartest coaches on the planet right now. So he's going to have ideas and solutions and a plan of how to get the best out of him. And we saw it with the wing backs. People were saying, what are we going to do? We've been found out. And then he takes the wing backs and makes them play narrow, and suddenly the whole team has changed. There's no reason why he can't make a small tweak to Lukaku and change it there. Whether that's moving him a bit more into the right channel and playing Kai as the false nine, or whether that's giving Lukaku the freedom to roam a bit more, or telling his midfielders to move the ball quickly. Whatever he does, he's going to make a tweak somewhere. He knows the issue. And we've got a manager who is tactically astute, takes responsibility, and is a thinker. So I can't go against these two elements, of the striker who's more than motivated to play for us and knows he needs to prove himself in the Premier League and then and try and win the Premier League. Really, Lukaku after the last move at Man United, and then obviously Tuchel as well. So I'm good.
Totally. I think he really hasn't played with Ben Chilwell, because when he started, Ben Chilwell wasn't playing. He hasn't really played with Kovac because he got injured like around the same time. I do think we'll see the best of Lukaku. Guys, I'm really sorry. I have to cut it off. I have to go to climbing class. Check out these hands. They're gross. But yeah, gotta go get strong. Gotta go to climbing class. Matisse, thanks so much for joining.
Of course.
We'll be back here every Tuesday. Next week, I'll be streaming from New York. So maybe a teensy bit later, because I'll be 6 hours ahead of Madrid time, 5 hours ahead of UK time. But we will be here. Guys, make sure to subscribe to Matisse. He's almost at 20K. You haven't hit it yet, right?
So close.
So close. So make sure you subscribe to him. It's Ma. I tried tagging. I'll have to fix it after.
Oh, don't worry. Some people find it, some people don't. I don't know what's wrong with my tag.
I tried tagging it in the title. It did. I don't think it goes through via StreamYard, but I'll fix it once it's uploaded to YouTube. So find Matisse, Ma MAH on Twitter.
With 2 subscribers away. He's playing games now. Come on now.
I know. Come on. Get him to 20K.
Come on now, guys.
20K. Guys, thanks so much for joining. Thanks for watching, for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with a pre-game and post-game stream as well. And until next time, I'm out.